Hey, real quick, before we dive into today's episode, if you've been feeling like your brand needs a little love, but you're not quite sure where to start, I have just the tool you need. The Standout Brand Audit Bot is an AI-powered guided audit that shows you exactly what's working, what's not, and how to strengthen your brand using my proven Standout brand system. In 10 minutes or less, you'll walk away with clear next steps to move your brand forward with purpose. It's completely free. Just head to the show notes to grab the link and get started. Today, we're talking about one of my hottest takes as a brand designer, and that is that you do not actually want a trendy brand. A lot of the branding that people are obsessing over online right now looks really cool and really fun and really different, and that's how it becomes trendy. But I can promise you that it's not going to age very well, because good, strategic, effective branding should be designed to support your business long term, and trends don't do that. Trends are fleeting. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about why trendy branding is so tempting, how it can actually hurt your business in the long term, the difference between timeless versus outdated, and how to build a brand that is still going to feel relevant several years from now instead of forcing yourself into a rebrand every 12 to 18 months. If you find yourself itching to update your brand every time that you see a new look or a new vibe start to become popular in the online business world, and you are always thinking, oh my gosh, I want my brand to look like that, this episode is going to be super, super helpful for you. Welcome to the Six Figure Brand Podcast, where each week we're pulling back the curtain on what it really takes to build a six-figure business as an online service provider. I'm your host, Morgan. I'm a branding expert, online agency owner, mom of two, and military spouse, and I'm obsessed with helping entrepreneurs like you understand the ins and outs of branding so that you can use it to grow your business without sacrificing your sanity. Whether you're just starting out or focused on scaling, we're diving into everything you need to build a profitable and sustainable online business. Let's get to it. Jumping on trends when it comes to your branding is so tempting because it feels exciting, especially when you're bored with your current brand, you feel a little bit creatively stuck, your business is maybe evolving and you feel like you're not sure if your brand is keeping up, and everyone online all of a sudden starts looking cooler than you because they're following all the trends. And being on social media makes this 100 times worse. We are constantly consuming the newest, trendiest websites, typography, photography, packaging, Instagram graphics. I mean, even like the filters that we use on Instagram, everything is a trend. And pretty quickly, your brain starts to think, wait, should I be doing that also? But here's the thing about trends. They are trends because they are temporary. I'm going to talk you through a few things that have been super trendy in the last 5 to 10 years, and you think about whether or not you would still want your brand to be represented by this. Chevron print, watercolor, the rustic all-white farmhouse look, galaxy print, all of those were everywhere, and they went just as quickly as they came. That's the point. They felt current, they felt cool, they felt fresh, and then very quickly they disappeared. That's what trends do. The problem with trendy branding is that your brand is supposed to have a longer lifespan than a TikTok trend. I think the really important distinction for us to make here is that trendy does not mean memorable. In fact, if anything, trendy branding really helps you blend in, not stand out. Because by definition, a trend is something that lots of people are doing simultaneously. Think about how many brands online right now have the exact same neutral color palette or the same elegant serif fonts, the quiet luxury aesthetic, the minimalist layouts, the hyper feminine elevated vibe. It's beautiful. I will concede that. But beautiful and distinctive are not always the same thing. The brands that we remember in the long term are not the ones that are chasing every single trend. They're the ones that plant their flag in something that feels authentic to them and they stick to it. And that's how they become deeply recognizable. If we think about the big ones like Coca-Cola, Lego, Trader Joe's, those have all very slightly evolved over time, but they have such a strong identity that they still feel recognizable as the trends are changing around them. You know, with all of those brands, what kind of experience you're getting, you know how they feel, you know how they sound. That is powerful, memorable branding. So again, the big problem with building your brand around what's trendy right now is that it expires so quickly. And then what? You do your rebrand, you spend all this money, all this time, you change everything, you launch, you're obsessed with it, it feels fresh and exciting. And then in 6, 12, 18 months, you're sitting there thinking, well, this already feels out of date. The trends have moved on. Everybody else is doing something else, and now I'm behind. And this is one of the big reasons why people get stuck in that constant rebrand cycle that they just cannot seem to get out of. That cycle is expensive, it's exhausting, it's emotionally draining, and most importantly, it's confusing for your audience. You cannot build brand recognition if you are revamping everything every single year. Your audience needs consistency, repetition, familiarity, and most importantly, authenticity in order for them to start to trust you. That's how brands become recognizable and build trust with their audience over time. If your branding is changing dramatically every time that the trends change and you're just constantly playing this catch-up game, you will never be able to build real brand equity. And that is going to make growing a business and building an audience base so much harder than it needs to be. Now, probably you're thinking, okay, so we're not chasing trends. That means that we're going for more of like a timeless feel with our branding. I want to be very clear here that building a timeless brand and a brand that can grow and evolve with your business doesn't mean that it has to be boring. I think this is where people get a little bit nervous because when designers say, oh, we're going to build you a timeless brand, people translate that in their head to think bland, safe, boring, corporate, that it's going to just always feel outdated. Timeless does not equal frozen in time. It means that it's built on strategy rather than personal preferences and trends and what looks pretty. It can and will still feel modern and filled with your own personality, elevated, creative, expressive. The goal is not to not evolve. The goal is to create a strong enough foundation that your brand can evolve with your business without needing to completely reinvent itself every couple of years. If we think about this from like a fashion perspective, which I'm not a fashion girl, but it illustrates the point nicely. Somebody with a really strong personal style can incorporate trends and play with, what's new and hot and experiment a little without completely straying away from their own personal style and vibe. And that makes it so that they don't look like a completely different person with every season and with every change of the trend. They are still them and they're just trying these little things on. And you can do that with your branding too. You can absolutely embrace and play with and try on trends without rebranding your entire business. And I think this is a big part of the nuance that gets lost online. And whenever I'm here saying you don't want a trendy brand, but you want a brand that gives you some space to play with trends once in a while. And, if there's something that sounds fun for you to try it, but don't burn your whole brand down. Trends can be really fun and really useful. You can 100% participate in like trending content styles and, in the form of like reels and TikToks and whatever, experiment with new styles of social graphics, try, a fun new photography concept that's like getting popular online lately. And especially if you're somebody that does like launches and campaigns a few times a year or seasonally or whatever, those are really good opportunities to try out these trends because just like trends are fleeting, so is a marketing campaign. The key is to do this without rebuilding your entire brand identity every single time. So for example, you might take your branding, your colors, your fonts, your images, and apply that to a trending Instagram carousel style. Or try editing an Instagram reel in a trending style, but still using your own core message, your own images, your own content. That is very different than completely overhauling your visual identity every 6 months because the internet decided that, we're actually not into neutrals anymore. Now neons are the cool thing. We are after a good, solid, strategic brand is adaptable, and that allows you to play with those trends and like still feel relevant and feel like you're trying things without it feeling unstable to your audience. I also want to talk about the emotional side of all of this. I think that some of us chase trends and want to be making sure that our brand is keeping up with what's popular because we're craving validation. I get it. Trendy brands look successful. They feel relevant. They feel cool. We all want to be cool. And they paint this picture that they're doing really well. And that's what we want. And so we think, if I can look like that, then I can be that. There's also a lot of comfort in visually fitting in. But ironically, usually the thing that makes brands truly, really memorable is the thing that makes it different. The brands that stand out long-term usually have a distinctive brand personality, a recognizable voice, recognizable visuals, and a really strong point of view. If you are copying trends as your brand strategy, you will not have any of those things because you'll just be the same as everyone else. Building your brand around trends is one of the fastest ways that I have seen to dilute your own personality and your own core message and make people, frankly, forget who you are. And that is not what we want as online service providers. So here are a handful of signs that your brand might be 1, too trend driven, and 2, maybe lacking a little bit of strategy. Number one is you are constantly wanting to redesign things. You see something online and you're like, oh, I want to do that for my brand. And you're just cannot get out of the playing around in Canva hamster wheel. To piggyback off of that, you're rebranding frequently. Like I would say if you're rebranding more than every 2 years, that's a huge, huge, huge red flag to me. A lot of my clients keep their brands or kind of very slowly evolve their brands for like 5, 6, 7 years. I am onboarding a client right now who I designed her original brand and website in 2018. We're doing some website updates for her, but she's keeping like 95% of her visual brand because we built it based on strategy. So we knew that it was going to grow with her as her business evolved. If your visuals look interchangeable to everyone else in your industry. So if your Instagram post, for example, showed up on like my search feed and I could not differentiate it from any of the other posts on there, that's a problem. If you are choosing how to design and create your visuals based on what's popular rather than what makes the most sense for your business and what illustrates your brand the best, that's a red flag. If your branding feels like it looks nice, but it's really lacking substance, and you will know if this is the case, this is one of those like, you know when you know things, then that's probably a red flag. And if you recently launched a rebrand and you already feel disconnected from it, then that's probably a sign that you might be focused too much on trends and not enough on strategy. Usually, and by usually I mean like 98% of the time, when branding is strategy-led instead of trend-led, it has a lot more staying power, a lot more substance to it, and a lot more for your audience to latch onto and really resonate with. So what do we focus on instead if we are not asking what's popular right now? Ask yourself, what really truly reflects your brand personality when it comes to colors, fonts, photos, visual styles? What supports the experience that I want my clients to have? Do you want them to feel like things are like really easy and seamless and non-stressful? Then that's going to look very different from a brand that wants to hype up their clients and like really energize them. What visuals reinforce my messaging? What feels aligned with where my business is headed? This is the biggest thing I wish I could just like implant into everyone's brain. We are not creating a brand for where your business is today. We are creating a brand for where your business is going over the next 3 to 5 years. That is how we build a brand that doesn't feel trendy and that you are not going to outgrow next week or next month or next year. Good branding is not good. And by good, I mean effective, as in branding that is going to help you grow your business and draw in those ideal clients, is about building recognition and trust and consistency over time. If you're chasing trends, you're not doing anything over time besides constantly reinventing the wheel over time. Unfortunately, that's a lot less flashy and exciting than what some of us would like sometimes, but that's okay. It's okay for branding to feel boring. Typically, that means you're probably doing it right. So to close us out, I know that a trendy brand will probably get you attention pretty quickly, and it will probably feel fun, and it will feel like you're taking action and like doing something for your business. And all of that is a really nice, quick dopamine hit. But a strategic brand is what's going to build trust with your actual ideal audience over time. And long-term trust is the thing that we're after in business, right? Long-term trust builds those relationships, draws in those ideal clients, and helps us grow our business in a real and sustainable way, rather than having these short bursts of, oh, I rebranded and it looks nice and all these strangers on the internet like it, but it's not actually doing anything for my business, and now I have to redo it again in 6 months from now. You do not want your brand to look like everyone else on the internet. It's fine to look to people for inspiration. It's fine to play around with trends as they fit into your existing brand. But if you take one thing away from this, let it be that you want your brand to stick out like a sore thumb. You don't want to blend in. You don't want to follow all the latest trends. You don't want to do what everyone else is doing. You want to do what's right for you, so that the right people can quickly and easily find you and identify that you are their person. So if your branding currently feels maybe pretty but shallow, a little disconnected, or like it was built more around aesthetics than actual strategy, a standout brand strategy session is the perfect place to start fixing some of that. In 90 minutes, we will unpack the foundation for your brand, your positioning, your messaging, and come up with a game plan for how to bring that all to life visually. The link to book your standout brand strategy session is always in the show notes, and as a podcast listener, you get $100 off with the code SFBPOD. Thanks for tuning in to the Six Figure Brand Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to rate the show and leave a review on whatever app you're listening on. And as a thank you, I'll send you coffee on me. Yes, I'm serious. As a smaller show for now, you taking the time to do this makes a huge impact on how we can reach more people and how I can continue to create this content for free. When you take a screenshot of your review, follow and tag me on Instagram at @SpectandCo. I'll send you a $5 Starbucks gift card. As always, don't forget to check out the show notes for any links or resources I mentioned during the episode. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you next week.